Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on more game logic and Unreal Engine 5 using C++. That's it. Last stream I did go over Blender and make like a few 3D meshes and all that stuff. That said, before that, I spent a lot of time learning enhanced inputs. Today I'm going to be working with enhanced input, but applying it to like actual game logic type stuff. That's it. Let's go to my gameplay screen. So there we go. Hi, doing Anonymous, is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining your stream. I'm your top fan. Honestly, guys, that actually means the world to me. I think Pixels, I appreciate you joining the stream as well. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and say something like, let's say, live exclamation. And guys, up till now, I was getting like, like familiar with like the Unreal Engine's interface and all that stuff. But now that I know like a pretty good thing about Unreal Engine, I might actually start applying my own logic to stuff. Okay, listen to me, everyone in the chat. Pay attention to the screen right now because you're witnessing something where you aren't here to watch someone play around. You're here to watch the birth of a architect. My student is about to dive into the guts of Unreal Engine 5, and if they flinch, you'll see it. Okay, to the viewers, don't blink. You're witnessing the transformation to my student. Da 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 blah blah blah. Okay, okay, who? Guys, if I can actually read properly, that is because I'm not warmed up just yet. That's it. He who is brave is free. Since, are you brave enough to build this? Okay, I see. Okay, that's it. I did like say Gemini that what I was going to do today because I had like enough time to actually prompt this up. That's the mission, the stamina sprint system C++. You heard before. Since you're live, show me that. Okay, so basically, what I gotta do is define a variable in my Visual Studio, create a floating point stamina, okay, current, and a floating point max stamina. So every time I click Q, my speed increases, but then I decrease my stamina and all that stuff. Bro, well done, nice consistency. I saw you at day one. Honestly, it sounds really cool. I do remember you, Quiz Fries. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, create a float stamina drain rate and float stamina regen rate. Create a boolean is sprinting. Then enhance input binding. Bind your sprint action to a function that toggles boolean is sprinting. Started B is sprinting equal to true. Completed slash cancel B is sprinting false. Okay, the tick function, the engine. Okay, I will be trying this on my own, but I do want to get Gemini here to just read the instruction to see what I actually got to do. And guys, I realized one thing. Did I cancel my Unreal Engine by mistake? Okay, that's it. I did like realize. Let me open this real quick. There we go. I did realize one thing. I feel like I can do like much better for like the user interface if my Unreal Engine is completely extended and all that stuff. So, and guys, I am using a new mouse, so this mouse is kind of uncomfortable. Like when I click once, it just like opened 3 separate Unreal Engine tabs. So I gotta be careful with that. Let's go here. Let's go to something like my project. I'm gonna open my project 7. This is like a new project that I created like just a while ago. Okay, by the way, I want to give you advice. Try not to learn from LLM. Honestly, I have like heard of LLM. Like, what's it about? I mean, I do know like it's made with AI. Like, it's used to make AIs and all that stuff. But is it actually good and all that stuff? That's that. I'm gonna go to something like files, new level. I'm gonna create a basic level. And guys, if you guys can like see my, let me just go ahead and go to taskbar settings. Get this right here. Let's scroll all the way down. Taskbar behaviors. I'm not gonna show it in all window. There we go. Okay, and if you guys can't see my entire Unreal Engine window, you guys could like move on to my horizontal stream because I realized yesterday from Blender that it gets much easier to actually work with Unreal if I don't have my window like completely shrunk down. LLM equals to Gemini. Oh, I see. Honestly, the reason I moved on to like Gemini is because I thought Gemini was giving me much better results than ChatGPT. Guys, let me know if the stream is lagging. Like, is the stream lagging? Okay. Hold on, guys. Let me just check if the stream's lagging. Okay. I don't think it's lagging. I think we're good, guys. It's because I'm using a new wired mouse because I feel like my battery mouse, it takes like a lot of battery. Okay, that's it. Now, firstly, the thing that I'm going to go ahead and do for my C++, actually for my project, is create a C++ class. So I'm going to go with something like new class, go with something like character, hit something like next. Let's say I want to go ahead and name this something like, let's go with C++. Actually, I might go with something like NPC class. Maybe player. I could go with something like player. There we go. Okay, the player name has already been taken, so I might go with something like, should I go with user or something, or I might go with something like my character. I might go with character. There we go. How are these names already taken, guys? This is like a brand new project. Okay, maybe instead I could go ahead and name him something like I don't know, maybe NPC. I could go ahead and use my NPC too, and then I'm going to go ahead and create a class. And guys, this is definitely my mouse that's actually causing this kind of lag and all that stuff. That's, let me go ahead and just keep that there. Check it's going good. Okay, perfect. It's adding my code to project. I think I do much better if it's like kind of shrunk up. Okay, let's go ahead and reload everything real quick. Guys, it's so hard to use this mouse. There we go. But I feel like if I get used to using the wired mouse, I wouldn't have to worry about changing the batteries every now and then. Okay, that's it. Let's go here. Let's get my live coding up here. Then let's go ahead and exit this. Go back to my code here. So I have a character class here. I'm going to go ahead and exit that. Now, inside my character class, firstly, I do want to add enhanced inputs and all that stuff. So I might do that first. So in my NPCs' header files, I'm going to go ahead and let's say define a few classes. So I might go ahead and define a class for, let's say, something like maybe something like utility. I need one for U input mapping context. I'm gonna go with U input mapping context. And guys, yesterday I did not have like a programming stream, so I will be kind of rusty at this, but I feel like I'm not as rusty as I think. Okay, let's go ahead and delete this. The second class that I'm going to be having is going to be a U input action. Honestly, is it called input action? I think it's called like action input, but it's the same thing. Input mapping context and the action input. The third class is going to be for my U spring arm component because I will be needing a spring arm for my NPC. And I do call this NPC, but this is actually my player. So I'm going to go with something like U spring arm component, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to go ahead and create another class for something like U camera component. This is going to be for my player's camera. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and create a structure of, let's say, something like F. And here F does represent like a structure of, let's say, something like input action value. Let's go with F input action value. Okay, perfect. These are the basic classes. I mean, instead of actually defining these classes, I could include their header files. For example, from game framework, I could go ahead and install the spring arm component. From camera, I could go ahead and install the camera, go ahead and include the camera component. But I feel this part looks a bit more cool, so I do like stick with this part. Okay, that's the next step. Once I'm done with that, under my protected data members, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's say, firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like input mapping context. Let's go with something like input mapping context. Okay, and basically, if you guys don't know what the input mapping context is, if I go to my content drawer, why do I have a button? Okay, I do have C++ classes. So if I were to go to my content drawer and then let's say right click, create a new folder, I'm going to name this folder something like input because this is going to have all my inputs as content in it. Okay, and then if I were to right click, click the search bar, type something like input mapping context. There we go. I can go ahead and create an input mapping context. For sure, I could name it something like input mapping context IMC underscore default. So this is the input mapping context that I create here. But then later, I would be needing something like an action input as well, which is basically input action. I'm going to call it something like IA move, which is input action for my players' movement. And then I might go ahead and create another action input. I mean, I want to add jump and all that, guys. My mouse is so annoying. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rename this to something like IA underscore jump because this is a jump action where I actually jump. Then I'm going to go ahead and click this button. Now, I'm going to double click my IMC default. Let's go ahead and get this tab here. Okay, so basically the thing that I was creating these new properties and functions for was for my IMC default because this is where I actually click my plus button and then select, let's go with something like mapping. Okay, I'm pretty sure I gotta like select something here. Maybe I go ahead and delete this. Okay guys, is that my mouse? Because I gotta go ahead and select my IA move right inside my IMC default. Okay, maybe I go here. Guys, it's my mouse that's kind of bugging. Okay, and then let's go ahead and select my IA move. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and click plus. Now, for my IA move, I will be needing 4 flags. Guys, I clicked this button once and registered this thing twice. I might have to go back to my this mouse. Okay, let's actually check if it works. Maybe I go ahead and just unplug this for a bit. What up, guys? Let me just go ahead and unplug this mouse for a bit. Replug this. Okay, let's see. I mean, I guess my other mouse's battery is out, so I think I gotta manage with this mouse today, guys. Okay, because the one thing I don't like about this wired mouse is that it's kind of laggy type stuff. Okay, maybe I go ahead and close this again. Or I don't know if it's like some settings that I don't know about or something like that. Let's go ahead and just get it back in here. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and set this to be something like W. So I'm gonna go ahead and click this. Let's just go ahead and click it. This is gonna be W. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add a few modifiers to it. Since I want to move forward and backward, which is me moving in the y-axis, I'm gonna go ahead and add a Swiss input axis. There we go. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and close this. It's so annoying to use this mouse. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit something like let's go with S here. My bad, guys, not W. I'm gonna go ahead and click S here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click this button. And then let's go ahead and add a modifier here as well. Guys, I didn't want to add 2 modifiers. There we go. Okay, now for my modifier, I'm gonna go ahead and there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and add a Swiss input axis because I am working with like the y-axis because I want to move back when I hit S. But I won't be able to move back unless I don't add another modifier. Okay, maybe I go ahead and delete a modifier. There we go. Oh, I'm starting to see how this mouse actually works. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna be needing a negate modifier as well because negate is like a negative value and all that stuff. Then I'm gonna go ahead and close this. Okay, no 3D modeling. Honestly, I do like, whatchamacallit, I only do like 3D modeling and like a general stream on Tuesdays. Everything besides Tuesdays is like me learning Unreal Engine and programming type stuff. Because I thought it would be like a nice change of pace if I like have a different stream on Tuesday. That said, this is going to be A. For my A, I'm going to be having, let's say, a negate modifier. Let's go with something like negate. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this. Lastly, this is going to be D. For my D, I'm going to go ahead and let's say have no modifiers. Then I'm going to go ahead and close this. Can you run it by ChatGPT? I think something is wrong. Can I run this by ChatGPT? I mean, I think it looks like pretty correct. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and click a plus button again here. Cannot add a new key to the map while a key exists. Cannot add a new key to the map while a key with the same value exists. Same value? Is it because I need to add something here? I don't think I gotta add something there. Let's see. So, maybe I gotta go ahead and add another mapping. There we go. Okay, why is bro talking? Who is bro talking to? Honestly, I am like trying to explain what I'm doing, guys. That said, the next one, this is going to be for my IA jump. Now, I want to go ahead and jump only when I click my spacebar. So this is going to be spacebar. And that's like pretty much it for this. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my Untitled project again. Firstly, a really important part, guys, I'm going to go ahead and save all. Let's go ahead and save selected. In my content, I'm going to go ahead and maybe name this something like a map. There we go. So this is going to be my actual map. Now, speaking of maps, I actually want to, go back to my contents in browser and load in 3 of my folders because these are like, it's so hard to use this mouse. There we go. Because these are the folders that actually have my Blender meshes and all that stuff. So I'm gonna go with something like yes. Okay, perfect. While this is actually adding here, I might go ahead and get my chat back up here. Let's go ahead and get that there. Okay, perfect. Alright, that's it. Let me go ahead and get that there as well. Extend this. There. Okay, perfect. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say save all again because it's really important to save everything, guys. Okay, then let's see. I'm gonna go back to my content drawer. Under my inputs section, I have a IA move. I'm gonna go ahead and click that, and I'm gonna change my digital boolean to a 2D vector because I will be using 2D vectors and all that stuff. Lastly, I'm gonna go with my IA jump as well and change this to be a 2D vector too. And that was pretty much everything that I needed besides the legacy mapping because I will be using enhanced mapping and legacy mapping together. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like inputs, add a axis mapping. I'm gonna go ahead and name this something like turn. Okay, let's go ahead and double click this, call this something like churn. Now I am going to churn depending on, let me go ahead and just delete this part, there we go. Now I'm gonna turn depending on where my mouse is moving in the, let's say, x-axis. There we go. And this is gonna be called something like turn. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna turn depending on where my mouse moves in the x-axis, and I'm gonna look up or down. I'm gonna go ahead and type something like look up. I'm gonna look up or down depending on where my mouse looks in the y-axis or moves in the y-axis. Now, this is pretty much it. I'm gonna go back to my code here. No, this is the always, bro. Honestly, I know, like, I do like use the what you call it, enhanced input, but for some reason, when I use enhanced input, I cannot apply both my yaw and my pitch together. It's either only my yaw works or only my pitch works. He's just messing with you. Don't mind him. I see it. Okay, so let's see. Next up, once I'm done with all this stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and add a input mapping context. For my input mapping context, I'm gonna add a U property. There we go. Okay, now my U property. There we go. Okay, let's go here. There we go. Oh my god, so interesting. I love your content. Honestly, I appreciate you. Maniksha, is that how I pronounce your name? That's it, bro. You're double coding the inputs. Old setup is incompatible with new ones. Honestly, that's the only way that I actually, get my yaw and pitch to work together. Can I use, enhanced inputs to actually get my yaw and pitch inputs to work together? Because I tried that before, it did not work. Hey, maybe I might have done something wrong. Can we get a 6-7 from you guys? 6-7 is kind of crazy. I thought we left the 6-7 jokes in 2025. That said, now my U property is going to be edit anywhere because I do want to be able to, let's go with something like, let's go with edit anywhere. I want to be able to edit my input mapping context anywhere. Did I spell property wrong? Property. I think it's just my editor. Next up, I want it to be blueprint read only. I only want my blueprint to be able to read my input mapping context but not edit it. Lastly, I want it to have a category. So I'm going to go with something like a category, which is going to be equal to something like input. Okay, let's see. That said, I'm going to go ahead and end. I won't end this with a semicolon, but here's the thing. I end everything with a semicolon. That part's correct and all that stuff. Input mapping context, UPROPERTY. Identifier U property is undefined. Why is it undefined? Okay, let's see. Maybe I go ahead and... I mean, I'm pretty sure it's my editor. Like, there's no way this isn't my editor. Okay, so I have my generated H, and like everything here is correct. Guys, this should fix itself. Okay, that's it. Once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say create a U input mapping context, which is gonna be represented by a pointer. U input mapping context, it's correct. Represented by a pointer called something like default mapping. There. And then I'm gonna end this with a semicolon. Okay, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and add another comment that says something like move input action. My move input action is going to be having a U property as well, which requires a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be edit anywhere. The second parameter is going to be blueprint read only because I want my blueprint to only be able to read my input action but not edit it. Lastly, I want to have a category for organization. I want to go ahead and organize my inputs. Okay, CATEGRY. Okay, I think that's correct. And then I'm going to go in a new line and create a U input action, okay, which is going to be represented by something like a move actions is pointer. Okay, and here's the thing, guys, like, why are there so many red underlines? I know it's my editor. Okay, maybe I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. I just want to go ahead and save the code real quick and run it. Because, okay, my bad, guys. Let's go ahead and exit this. Blueprint, print, read, only, CATEG, CATE. This is going to be a GORY. CATEGRY. Okay, perfect. Now let's hit Control F to save the code and run the command. It should say success. This is just to fact check if it's correct. I'm positive it's correct. Result failed. Other compilation error. Does it say exactly where I messed up? Okay, so it says live coding is still active. Exit. Oh, I see. Okay, my live coding is active. So let's go ahead and compile it inside my Unreal Engine. Let's go with something like live. I want to compile it here. There we go. Result succeeded. It's actually correct, guys. Okay, these red underlines, I guess they're just to throw me off. There we go. The red underlines are gone as well. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and create a look input action as well. Okay, you're cooking, bro. Let's go. Okay, I'm going to go with something like look input action. There we go. Now, my look input action is going to be having a U property as well. Okay, with a pro parentheses, I want my look input action to be able, I want to be able to edit it anywhere. But here's the thing. I might need one for jump because I'm not adding one for a look, right? There we go. I think I just need one for jump. I want it to be edit anywhere. There we go. And then I want it to be blueprint read only. I'm going to go with something like blueprint read only. And then I want my category. Let's go with something like my category to be equal to input because I want it to be organized inside of my inputs section. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and add my... Okay, I think I need to create another U input action, which is going to be represented by a pointer called something like jump action. There we go. Then I end this with a semicolon. Okay, not what your mom said, and the streamer as well. Okay, I see. Okay, both of you... SYBAU. Honestly, I haven't like heard that. What does that mean? Okay, that's it. Let's go all the way down here. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say create a few components here. For example, I'm gonna add a component, add a comment that says something like camera boom. Okay, and if you guys aren't like familiar with that camera boom in like film industries, people do like stick their camera in like a big selfie stick. That's basically called camera boom. Now, to create a camera boom, I'm gonna be requiring a U property for it as well. My camera boom is going to be visible anywhere. I want it to be visible anywhere. I want my camera boom to be something like a blueprint read only. And then lastly, I want my camera boom's category. Let's go with something like category to be equal to something like camera. I want it to be organized inside a camera's category. Okay, let's change this to U property. There we go. I think I spelled it wrong. Let's go with U, P-R-O-P-E-R-T-Y. There we go. Okay, you're cooking, bro. Let's go. Okay, so no 3D modeling today. Honestly, not today, but then maybe next Tuesday, because I do like ask you guys in my community post for like what should I do next Tuesday. That's it. I did like enjoy the modeling yesterday. Okay, VISIBLE, visible anywhere, blueprint read only, category. VISIBLE. Okay, I think it's correct. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and create something like a U spring arm component for my camera boom. So I'm gonna go with something like U spring arm component, which is going to be represented by a pointer called something like camera boom. Okay, and then I end this with a semicolon. Here's an annoying thing about live coding while actually writing my code. I get so many red underlines. You should try out Lua also. Honestly, many of you guys did say me I should like try Lua. I used to like back when I used to like play a lot of Roblox, I did like hear the language, but I never like put a lot of effort into learning that stuff. But I might actually look into it. Bro, you get bro, you 42 get a job? Guys, 42 is kind of crazy. That's it. Next time I'm gonna go with something like follow camera. There we go. Now for my follow camera, I'm gonna create a U property. Okay, where I want my follow camera to be visible anywhere. I want my follow camera to be something like blueprint read only. And lastly, I want my follow camera's category. Alright guys, there we go. My follow camera's category to be equal to something like camera. It's going to be categorized inside of my cameras section. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a U camera component. And guys, ignore all the red underlines. It's just my editor. Okay, I'm going to go with something like follow camera, ending with a semicolon. And I think that's pretty much it for my properties. Just to check if I did it correct, I'm going to open my Unreal Engine. What system are you making? Honestly, I'm actually working on enhanced input like basic logic in Unreal Engine. Guys, I don't like this mouse. Okay, because I am using a wired mouse right now. I can't even like show you guys that. I can't even show that to you guys in the camera. Okay, that's it. Let's go with something like a live compile. I'm going to go ahead and live compile just to check if my code is correct. Okay, if this says success, whatever I was writing is going to be correct. There we go. It says result succeeded. Okay, perfect. So everything here is correct. It's just my editor kind of, I guess, tweaking type stuff. That's it. Next up, once I'm done adding all my properties, I'm going to add a camera. that says something like functions. Okay, now I'm gonna be needing a few functions. Maybe I might go with something like RMB functions. Okay, basically what RMB function is, the only time I want to actually turn is when I click my right mouse button in my keyboard. That's when I want to turn around. So I'm going to be needing two functions here. The first is going to be for my RMB right mouse button pressed. There we go. With a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon, and another void function for RMB released. Okay, my right mouse button released, ending with a semicolon. RELESTD. Okay, how many comments? How are my comments not showing on your screen? Honestly, there are like a few comments that actually gets hidden if it's kind of inappropriate and all that stuff. So those are the ones that actually doesn't show. Okay, that's it. Let's see. So after my RMB functions, I'm gonna go ahead and create a few functions for my move. So I'm gonna go with something like enhanced input functions. Now, for my enhanced input functions, I'm going to be creating a void function for, let's say, something like move that requires a parameter of something like f input action value. And guys, this is where I actually made a mistake last stream. It's not just going to be an f input enhanced value. It's going to be a constant f input enhanced value, which is going to be represented, which is going to be requiring the memory address of a value as a parameter, ending with a semicolon. And then I might require a void. I won't need a jump function. Okay, because our character class by default already gets gravity and jump applied to it. I mean, we already get the functions that we can actually implement in our code without manually adding the content for those things. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and add another comment here that says something like legacy input functions. There we go. For my legacy input functions, I'm gonna go ahead and create a void function for something like turn that requires a floating point parameter of value ending with a semicolon, and another void function for something like lookup that requires a floating point parameter of value as well, ending with a semicolon. And that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure this is like everything. So I'm gonna go to my C++ file. This is where I actually include all the important header files. For example, I'm gonna go ahead and include my Spring Arm component from my game framework. So I'm gonna go with something like game framework / the Spring Arm component. And guys, I just realized how much I'm starving right now. Let's go with Spring Arm component .h, which is my Spring Arm components as header files. And then next up, I'm gonna go ahead and include something from my camera. I want to include my camera components as header files. Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and include, let's say something like enhanced input action.h. I'm gonna include my enhanced input actions as header files. So, okay, did I do this correct? I think I did it correct. Once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and include, let's say, my enhanced inputs as subsystems as well. My subsystems is header files. Okay, and then I'm assuming lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and include my input. Let's go with something like my input action value. Let's go with action value.h, which is my input action as the header files. How will the NPC use the input? Honestly, I did just call it NPC, but it's gonna be my player, but then it's gonna use the input with the content and the functions. Like I declared my functions inside of my header files. I'm gonna define them in my C++ file, and then I'm gonna bind my Unreal Engine with my Visual Studio so both knows exactly what to do. Do this IRL. Honestly, I am planning to like shift houses and all that stuff. When I do actually shift, which I guess it's gonna be like this first, I am gonna be having like workout streams as well. So I'm kind of excited for that, guys. I don't know how scrawny workouts I'm gonna be doing, but it's gonna be kind of fun, guys. Okay, why didn't you explain what are you making? Honestly, I am like working on learning enhanced. I mean, I did like work on learning enhanced input, but today I'm gonna make a program where I can move my player, turn my player, or make my player jump clicking the space button, and also when I click Q, I'm gonna go ahead and run at max speed. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna run at max speed, and my stamina is gonna be drained. Okay, enhanced input action is wrong. Enhanced input subsystems is wrong. Maybe I go with IntelliSense. Okay, maybe I go ahead and enhance action input. Okay, let's see. So I see something like enhanced input, or let's go with something like enhanced input. Maybe I go with something like enhanced action. Okay, maybe enhanced input action. Excuse me, guys. How come you're using both the enhanced input and legacy input? They're not quite compatible with each other. Don't create walls for yourself. Honestly, that does make sense. Like, Gemini said me the exact same thing, but then the reason I do it is because when I only used enhanced inputs, I couldn't get myself to, whatchamacallit, use my yaw and pitch movement or yaw and pitch rotation together. It's either only my yaw worked or only my pitch worked. Okay, input action. Enhanced input action. Okay, I forgot the headers that I might need here. Okay, who's your favorite anime girl? Let's see. I actually have so many, but I actually forgot. Guys, it's awful. I watch so many animes. I should know this. Let me think. Hold up, guys. Can I get a few options, guys? Okay, I was watching like Attack on Titan the other day. I did like Mikasa from there, if that's how you pronounce her name, but then there were like a bunch more. I don't remember actually. Okay, that said, why do I still have it right on the line here? What up, guys? Let me go ahead and get Gemini up here. Okay, let's go ahead and get Gemini. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and get Gemini here real quick. Guys, this is just whatchamacallit, gonna be like a quick little there we go. Let's go ahead and extend this from here as well. Okay, let's go all the way there. Guys, this is what I don't like about my mouse. It's so annoying. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go to one of my previous chats. Let's go somewhere here. Now, in my previous chats, I'm gonna go ahead and, let's say, scroll all the way up until I don't give my whole project. I'm pretty sure I gave my entire project somewhere here. Okay, is there a thing to expand all? I can expand all. So it's, it's enhanced input component and enhanced input subsystems. I went with enhanced input action. There we go. Okay, these are the tiny syntaxes that I don't actually remember just yet. But let's go with something like enhanced input component. So let's go with something like component.h, and that's pretty much it. Now, inside my constructor, I'm going to be creating a few default sub-objects. For example, okay, did you say Kami Gaze? Is that like an anime name? That's it. I'm going to go with something enhanced input subsystems. This is going to be subsystems. There. Okay, now I'm going to create a default sub-object for my camera boom. And guys, the thing that I'm going to be doing here is can be exactly done inside my Unreal Engine as well using blueprints. But the reason I write it, I do it using code because I, for some reason, like actually coding here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and create a default sub-object. There we go. Okay, with a pair of ankle braces. Now, my default sub-object is going to be having, let's say, something like a use spring arm component. Let's go with use spring arm component.h, which are my spring arm components and header files. Then I'm gonna check, why do I still have it right on your line here? ENHAENHANCED. Guys, so many typos. There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a pair of parentheses. I wouldn't need the .h here. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and add a text where I'm gonna go ahead and call my spring arm component something like camera boom. There we go. Okay, perfect. And then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and, let's say, point my camera boom towards, let's say, something like a setup attachment. The reason I can actually point my camera boom using an arrow mark operator is because my camera boom is like a pointer. There we go. Okay, what's your favorite Unreal class? Okay, I feel like for the time being, the character class is like my favorite class because like I can do so many things on the character class. It's like really flexible. It might be, I could probably do that with like Pawn, Action, and the other classes as well. But I think I have more experience with like the character class. That said, I'm going to go ahead and add a root component. Okay, there we go. And the reason I set up a attachment for my root component is because without my root component, I won't be able to move, turn, or rotate my actual camera boom type stuff. That's the next up. Once I'm done with this, is there something else that I want to do? I might want to point my camera boom towards something like a target arm length. Okay, let's go with something like target arm length. Okay, and if you guys were in this stream like, I think like 20 minutes ago, I did like tell you guys camera boom is basically what people in the film industry use like to stick their camera. It's basically a big selfie stick. So I want my selfie stick to be away from my player. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this to be 400.0f, which is basically 400 centimeters away from my actual player. Who's your favorite celebrity? I actually haven't like thought of that because I don't watch much movies or anything. I just usually watch animes and all that stuff. That said, I'm gonna go with something like Camera Boom, which points towards. Oh, guys, I didn't remember my favorite female anime character. I think it's Albedo from like Overlord. Okay, next up, I don't think it's like the entire favorite. I do like Albedo though. Okay, my favorite class is the U object class. It reminds me of the man object oriented man here. I see. Okay, that said, I'm gonna go ahead and set a boolean of something like use pawn control rotation. Let's go with pawn control rotation. And this is like a check which I can actually tick mark in my Unreal Engine, or I could go ahead and set it true here. Okay, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and create another default sub-object for my follow camera. So I'm gonna go with something like create default sub-object. Okay, let's go with sub-object with a pair of ankle braces. I want my default sub-object to be my camera components. I'm gonna go with something like U camera component. And then I want it to be called something like, let's go with text. I want it to be called something like follow camera. Okay, so let's go with something like camera. And in case you guys can't see my entire code from the vertical stream, make sure to like actually move on to my horizontal stream because that's where I show my entire window. Okay, so... Okay, that's it. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go with something like follow camera. Let's go with something like follow camera that points towards a setup attachment. There we go. Let's go with attachment with a pair of parentheses. Now, my follow camera is gonna be having a parameter, but not a root component. I want my camera to be stuck to my camera boom. So my root component is gonna be my camera boom. Okay, so now my follow camera is a child of my root component. That said, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and point my follow camera towards, let's say, something like a boolean value of something like use pawn control rotation. Okay, which is going to be equal to false here, ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's see. That's it. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and that's pretty much it for my constructor, to be honest. So I'm going to go under my begin play. Now, this is the complicating part. These are the new parts that I've been learning. Firstly, I'm going to go ahead and check if my U enhance inputs. Okay, U enhance inputs. So let's see. Okay, so if my U enhanced input, I'm assuming component. Okay, I don't think it's component. I remember I gotta check if something here is represented by... What up, guys? Yes, I feel off hard now. I'm learning from Sensei. I see. Okay, when is Minecraft 67 coming out, guys? Minecraft 67 is kind of crazy. Let's go all the way up here. I might actually get Gemini here real quick. There we go. Okay, because I forgot this one part. So in my begin play, I check if my player controller, which is represented by a pointer of PC, is equal to cast a player controller. Then I go ahead and do something. This is inside my begin play. I get my enhanced inputs as local player subsystem. Okay, so that equal to U local player. Okay, then U local player, and I get my subsystem. Okay, I think I see. Okay, this was the part that I actually was confused on. Let's go with something like a player controller. Let's go with something like controller, which is going to be represented by a pointer of PC. That is going to be... Alright guys, let's go with something like PC, which is going to be equal to, let's say, something like cast. I want to go ahead and cast this to be something like a player controller. Okay, with a pair of parentheses of controller. Okay, close the pair of parentheses as well. There we go. Okay, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of curly braces here. Now, inside the pair of curly braces, okay, let's see. I might add another if statement that checks if my enhanced, let's go with something like if my enhanced input local, let's go with enhanced input local player subsystem. Okay, if my ANCED input local player subsystem. I'm pretty sure this part correct. So if my enhanced input local player subsystem, which is going to be represented by subsystem, here's the thing. Should I go with something like U enhanced? Unreal's is enhanced input local player subsystem. Okay, what if I go with shift tab for getting Intel Essence off? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight this whole thing. There we go. Hit shift space. Okay, so U enhanced input local player subsystem. There we go. I kind of forgot this part. So if my U enhanced input local player subsystem is, which is going to be represented by something like subsystem, let's go with something like subsystem. So there we go. Okay, is going to be equal to, if that is equal to, let's say something like cast. I'm going to go with the prof ankle braces. Actually, not cast. I think it's going to be something like U local player with a scope resolution operator. I get a subsystem. There we go. And then I add a prof ankle braces where I go ahead and use my U enhanced input local player subsystem. There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of parentheses where I'm gonna go ahead and let's say point my PC towards the get controller. There we go. Okay, get controllers is function. Okay, now here's the thing. UENHANCEDINPUTLOCL U enhanced local player subsystem. This part is correct. Maybe I go ahead and copy this. Let's go ahead and paste it here. This mouse is so annoying. There. Okay, I didn't want to add the if statements there. I just want to copy this and then I want to go ahead and paste it here. Why is that? Why does the if keep coming? Okay, let's go ahead and copy this part. And then let's go ahead and paste it here. There we go. I guess this way I can use the mouse. There we go. I just had a typo. My PC, which points towards my get. I think it should be get player and not get controller, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this part. There we go. I'm gonna go with something like get. Use Intel Essence. Okay, maybe I go with something like get player. There we go. Hold up, guys. Let's go with something like get player. Okay. Can you please code me a GF? Guys, coding GF is kind of crazy. Let's go with something like PLAYER. Was it get player? And guys, this mouse is so annoying. Like, how do I actually work with this mouse? There we go. So I gotta go with something like get local player. That's what I'm saying, guys. I keep forgetting the basic syntaxes here. I'm gonna use the get local player sys function and then add a prof parentheses to invoke the function. There we go. And that's pretty much it. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna add a prof curly braces. Now, inside my curly braces, I'm gonna go ahead and point my subsystem towards, let's say, something like add mapping context sys function. My add mapping context is going to require a parameter of something like default mapping. Okay, and then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. I forgot to add a priority. I'm going to go with something like priority 0. Basically, what the priority here actually means is like priority 0 means if I don't want my NPC to move in any other way. For example, if he's inside a train, I want to go ahead and control the train. That is going to be priority 1. Every time he's not inside a train or every time I don't want to add some different kind of user input to him, I'm going to be having my this default input. Okay, if that made any sense, guys. Okay, this is pretty much it. I'm positive that's it for my begin play. Now, once I'm done with that, are you a Genshin player? I did like have a stream for like Genshin Impact. That was kind of fun. But then, guys, I feel like what should we call it? I think Wuthering Waves would be like much better instead of like Genshin. I'm not saying like the game is better in general. I feel they're like two different games, but like Wuthering Waves or like Bua is like much more free to play friendly type stuff. It's amazing. You have horizontal stream. Honestly, it does sound kind of cool. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and add a void function called something like move. I declared my function in my header files. Now I'm going to define them in my C++ file. So my move function is going to be requiring a constant parameter of something like f input action value that requires the memory address of a value uses parameter. Then I go with the pair of curly braces. Now inside my move function, I need like a bunch of things. For example, I'm going to be needing a scale value. There we go. I'm going to create a scale value. To create a scale value, I'm going to go ahead and let's say use something. So I need a movement vector. So I'm going to create a f vector 2D, which is basically f vector 2-dimensional, that is going to be represented by something like a movement vector's local variable, which is going to be equal to my values parameter dot be get with a pair of ankle braces that requires a parameter of my f vector 2D with a pair of parentheses to invoke the function ending with a semicolon. Guys, these syntaxes does seem a bit complicating at the start, but later it gets, excuse me guys, it gets a bit easy honestly. Okay, so that is my scale value. Once I'm done with my scale value, Genshin and Wuthering Waves is ass. That's kind of crazy, guys. Okay, I'm really mad. Honestly, I feel like Genshin is fun though. Okay, let's see. So once I'm done with this, I gotta go ahead and create a rotator. So for my rotator, I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. I'm gonna create, let's say, something like an F rotator. Okay, which is going to be represented by a local variable of rotation. There we go. That is going to be equal to, let's see. I want my rotation to be equal to, kind of forgot this part. So I want to like flat my 3D stuff to like a 2D thing. So my rotation is going to be for my yaw rotation. What up guys, I think I forgot the syntax for this. Maybe I go ahead and get Gemini up here real quick. So for my move, I'm going to be needing, oh, I forgot to add if controller is not equal to null PDR. And then I create a constant F rotator for rotator. Okay, so my controller points towards get control rotation. I forgot this part. Then another constant F rotator for my yaw rotation. I see, and then I create my basic world direction using the F rotation matrix. Okay. So my rotation is going to be equal to my get control rotation. So my controller, which points towards a get control rotation with a pair of parentheses to invoke my function ending with a semicolon. Now, here's the thing. I didn't add a if statement, so I'm going to go with a if statement that says something like if my controller is not equal to a null PD, or if my controller did not return null, that's the only time I want to go ahead and add this content inside of it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, delete this from here, go up, paste this. There, I create a rotator. Next up, this is I think going to be a constant F rotator because I don't want it to change at all. So I'm going to go with something like const. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to go with a constant F rotator. And then next up, I think I spelled controller wrong. CONTROLLE. Or what if I go into lessons? Okay, let's go with something like if my controller CONTROLLER is not equal to null PDR. Did I define my controller? Okay, what was the thing that I did before? So, controller not equal to null PDR. I think that's correct. Okay, I think like the red underline is just my editor. So next I'm gonna go with something like a constant of F rotator. Okay, which is going to be represented by something like a yaw rotations is function that requires a few parameters. And this is where I flatten out my 3D model to be 2-dimensional. So I'm going to go with 0, and then I'm going to go with my rotations is local variable dot be yaw function. Then I'm going to add a comma and go with 0 again, ending with a semicolon. And now, once I'm done with this, let's see, concept rotator. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add my world direction. The world direction part is gonna be easy. Okay, let's go with world direction. Now, for my world direction, I'm basically gonna go ahead and let's say I'm gonna create a rotation matrix. Let's go with a rotation matrix. Now, my rotation matrix is function. Did I need like some kind of parameters for my rotation matrix? Guys, yeah, scratch it out when I said that. Check my last comment. Line 35 is assigning value instead of comparing due to equal to. Line 35 is assigning value instead of comparing. Is assigning value. I mean, I think I want to actually assign it instead of comparing. Actually, yeah, I think that I do want to assign it. So I want to assign my U input local player subsystem. I want to check if my subsystem is my actual controller. So this is my player's controller. So if my local player subsystem is my PC's controller, then I want to do this stuff. I think that part's actually correct. I don't know how to phrase this part. That's kind of annoying. Like, when I learn something, it's hard to phrase that stuff, but I think that makes sense. Let's go all the way up here. Now, for my movement, I think I forgot a part here. Okay, so it's a constant F vector from a world direction. There we go. I kind of forgot that part. Because, guys, these are like new syntaxes to remember. I'm gonna go with something like F vector. Okay, so F vector of, let's say something like forward direction is going to be equal to, let's say something like a rotation matrix's function. Okay, is it rotator matrix or do I have to use like interlessons? Let's go with space, rotation matrix. Okay, now my rotation matrix's function does require a parameter of my, I think it was E-axis. Okay, have you ever watched the anime My Stepmom's Daughter is My Ex? Honestly, I haven't like actually watched that. Okay, it's my favorite anime. This character class already consists the character movement components. They can detect if you're jumping or not. Not sure why you made it a 2D vector. Honestly, because this is for the move function, I'm going to be having a separate function for like draw. I mean, I won't have a draw function because like character class already has the draw. That said, am I like really missing something again here? So, I gotta go ahead and have a yaw rotation for my F rotation matrix. So this is going to be a structure of rotation matrix, and guys, my mouse does not make it easy to actually work with this. Let's go with something like F rotation matrix. F rotation matrix. Now, finally it tells me the parameters that I need. It does not. I'm going to be needing a U axis. Actually, a U unit, a unit axis, or a E unit axis. This function. Okay, I think it's just going to be like a unit axis function. Okay, I think I forgot something real quick. I'm going to go ahead and add something like a yaw rotation. Okay, which requires a parameter of something like unit axis. How do I forget this stuff so quick? Didn't I just see it? Don't question the coding god. Guys, coding god is kind of crazy, but it does sound kind of cool though. I was really invested in the story actually. I see. Okay, I mean, I just checked the reference. How did I forget the syntax so quick? I gotta use the dot, so I gotta, okay, so this is gonna be my yaw rotation, and then I'm gonna go with something like dot. I forgot again. Unit axis, which requires a parameter of something like E-axis of X-axis. E-axis of something like X-axis. And then I go ahead and display semicolon. Now, if I hit, let's go ahead and double click this. Shift space for interlessons. Get unit axis. There we go. Finally, interlessons comes in handy, guys. Okay, I'm not into game dev, but if you're comparing, you should be using a comparison operator instead of an assignment operator. I'm not actually comparing. Like, I don't think like I'm comparing whatchamacallit, my U enhanced local player subsystem with my U enhanced local player subsystem. I think I'm like assigning this to be equal to this. So whenever my subsystem is whatchamacallit, is equal to my, wait, I actually see what you guys mean. I might have to ask this part out because I know that this part is correct because I've worked with this part before, but I've never thought it that way, that I assign my... Okay, so if subsystem, so every time I get my player... Okay, I might ask this part, so I'm gonna add a comment that says, ask what this part means. And why is using the equal to a good option? Okay, there we go. Okay, that said, next up, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and create another F vector for another world direction. Okay, I think Pixel, I appreciate you joining the stream. Let's go with something like F vector. Okay, which is going to be for my right direction this time. I'm going to go with something like right direction. There we go, which is going to be equal to a F rotation matrix, so a structure of my rotation matrix, which is going to be having a yaw rotation dot the get unit axis function that requires a parameter of E axis, which is going to be my Y axis, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and now this is pretty much it. I created one direction, I created scale value, I created my rotation. Now I'm lastly gonna go ahead and add a movement input. Let's go with add movement input. For my add movement input, I'm gonna go ahead and use the add movement inputs function. Okay, which requires two parameters. I think it's add input IntelliSense again, I guess. Let's go with something like add input, add movement input. Okay, maybe I go with something like add input movement. I think add input movement is correct. Why is it that I just spent one day not actually coding, and how did I forget these syntaxes? Okay, so I go with something like add movement input. I think add movement input is correct. Okay, yo, big ups for Terrain, brother. Honestly, that sounds kind of cool, guys. That's it. Let's go with something like add movement input. There we go. With a pair of parentheses, which requires a few parameters. Why can I not use my add movement input? Let me think. My movement input is going to be for my move function. Let's think. Okay, why can I not use a movement input? I am inside the pair of curly braces. My movement input does require world direction, which would in this case be my forward direction, and my scale value is going to be my movement vector dot the x-axis. Okay, MOVE, MENT. This is going to be vector, VECTOR. Okay, dot x-axis, but it says identifier add movement input is undefined. What if I go with something like add input movement? There. I'm pretty sure this was the correct syntax here. Okay, maybe I go ahead and Gemini up here again. Let's go ahead and see. Add movement input, it's correct. I actually knew this was correct. Why is it in that case showing me red underline? I'm assuming it might just be my editor, or it might be my controller is unidentified. This is gonna be y-axis. Okay, maybe I'm gonna go ahead and add, let's say, and this with a semicolon first, and I'm gonna go ahead and add another input movement. Okay, I'm gonna compile my code to check what error I'm gonna get so I can actually fix it. Let's go with something like right direction, which requires a movement vector for x-axis, ending with a semicolon. Now, before I do anything else, let me copy this, let me paste it because I had a typo here. There we go. And now, before I do anything else, I'm gonna hit Control S to save the code, open my Unreal Engine. I'm gonna type something like live and compile my code, because I want to see where I'm gonna get an error. 2 out of 4 complete. Okay, there we go. So it says I get an error in my controller. What is the error called? So it says controller undeclared identifier. So to fix that, all I gotta do is declare my controller. Okay, did I declare my controller anywhere? I did not declare it in my begin play, so this is my controller. I used to think controller was like a default thing. Okay, which is already declared, but I think I was wrong. Okay, shout out from Somalia. Honestly, that sounds kind of cool. I appreciate you joining the stream, Dennis. Okay, let's go ahead and get Gemini up here. And now, let me actually see one thing. So, I use controller here. Does that mean I defined it somewhere up? I cannot think of me actually defining it anywhere up, unless I did not include a module that I might need. Enhanced input components, subsystem, camera module, camera component, spring arm components. I included everything, did everything there. That's going to follow camera, and then in my begin play. Okay, void a human constant effector of a value. Oh, I see. Okay, guys. So this was a really silly mistake. I had to go with a NPC. How did I forget that I had to get my move function from inside my NPC? Guys, this is so stupid. There we go. Wide A, my character movement constant. There we go. That's guys. This is so awful. How did I not think of that? It's just like one day of me not like actually coding. There's no way I forgot these syntax. This is the very basics. How did I even forget this part? Okay, A and PC. There we go. So wide A and PC. I go ahead and get that function from it. Let's hit control to save the code. Guys, this is awful. I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of speechless right now. Okay, so now I can use my interlessons. I'm gonna go with something like add movement inputs. There we go. I can use my add movement input here now. Let's go ahead and add a movement input here as well. Let's go ahead and double click this. Let's go with something like add movement input. Guys, I don't know how speechless I should be. That was like an awful mistake. Like, how did I forget to get my move function from my header files? Chat miss. Okay, that's it. Next up, once I'm done with this, that's pretty much it for my move function. I might actually, just to keep this part organized, add a comment here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's go with move, and then I might go with something like move type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There we go, a bunch of hyphens to kind of organize this part. Once I'm done with that, I'm done adding my move. I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is going to be something like my legacy input functions. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add another comment here that says something like enhanced. Actually, this might be called something like ENHANCD, enhanced input functions. This is going to be for my move. Legacy input functions. This is going to be for my lookup. Actually, my turn first. Let's go with something like turn. Guys, I just like to decorate my code because for some reason it looks kind of good. Okay, that's it. 6-7 mention. Guys, I thought that we love these 6-7 jokes in 2025. That's it. Next up, let's go out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Chat, is this real? Honestly, I feel like it is kind of real. That's it. Let's go out of here. So, I'm gonna go ahead and not do the same mistake again. I'm gonna go with a void function from my A and PCs this class. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my turn function that requires a floating point parameter of value. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of curly braces, and then go with something like add controller. I'm gonna go ahead and add a controller, your input that requires a values parameter. There we go, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let's say create a look or define my lookups function as well. I'm gonna go with something like a void function. Okay, go ahead and just close this up. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna go with a void function called something like, excuse me guys, from my ANPC. I'm gonna get my lookups function that requires a floating point parameter of value. And then I go with a pair of curly braces. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add a controller. So there we go. I'm gonna add a controller. This time, instead of your input, I'm gonna go with something like pitch input that requires a parameter of value ending with a semicolon. Okay, and that's like pretty much it. What's happening here? Honestly, I am like working on basic game logic in Unreal Engine 5 using C++. Today, I want to add like a stamina bar, and every time I click Q, I want my player to like move really quickly and all that stuff. But now here's a tiny detail that I missed up here. Firstly, before I add my movement input, okay, so I want to move generally, but before I add my legacy inputs here, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say add something like my right mouse button. Let's go with something like function. Okay, for my function, I'm gonna go with a void function from my A and PCs class. I'm gonna grab my RMB released function, actually pressed first. Okay, whenever my RMB is pressed, I want to go ahead and do something. I'm going to go with the pair of curly braces. Now, okay, I like Rove. Honestly, I've never heard of it. What's it about? Okay, Sitpali means a backstack in finished FYI. I see. I actually did not know about that. That's it. Let's go out of here. So, I'm going to be needing a check as well. So, once I go with RMB released, I'm going to go with something like comment that says RMB check, which is going to be having, let's say, a boolean variable. So I'm going to go with something like boolean of B is RMB pressed. I might go with something like is RMB pressed. Okay, initially I'm gonna set it to be false because my RMB is not gonna be pressed when I don't actually press it. And now, do I have a RMB function? Let me go out of it up here. So in my content drawer, I have IA jump, IA move. I want to create another action input. Let's go with something like action input. This is going to be called something like IA underscore right mouse button. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and double click that. I think I'm going to change this to 2D axis. And guys, this is like a new part for me now. So I go with 2D axis. Then inside my IMC default, I'm going to add another mapping. This time for my RMB or IA underscore RMB. Every time I click my right mouse button, I want this to be activated. So I'm gonna go to my header files. In my header files, under let's say my jump action, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say create another action for my right mouse button. Let's go with RMB input action. Okay, my RMB input action is going to be having a U property where I want to be able to edit it anywhere. I want it to be blueprint read only. Okay, and lastly, I want my category, let's go with category, to be equal to something like inputs. And that's right about it. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and create a U input action, which is going to be represented by something like a RB actions is a pointer. Let's go with action, ending with a semicolon. Okay, now this is about it. Once I'm done with this part, is there something else that I want to do? I'm pretty sure there is. So, okay, I have an RMB pressed, RMB released, RMB checked. Now I go ahead and apply a few functions inside my C++ file. So every time my RMB is pressed, I'm gonna set my boolean variable of something like boolean is RMB pressed. Let's go with RMB pressed to be equal to, let's say, something like true, because my RMB is currently being pressed right now. And then if my RMB is being pressed, I want to do something. Let's think. Okay, I forgot this part. Okay, I forgot what I gotta add in the RMB function. Hold up, guys. I think my stream is lagging. Let me know if my stream is actually lagging. Okay, never mind. I guess I was just seeing things. Okay, that's it. Let me go ahead and go to my, let's get Gemini up here again. Now, I have a move function. I don't think, okay, I have my RMB logic. So if it's pressed, if my A player controller, which is represented by PC, equals to cast A player controller, get controller, PC, be show mouse cursor equal to false. Oh, I see. Basically, what the RMB function of pressed and not pressed is when I press my right mouse button, I don't want to show my mouse cursor. When I don't press my right mouse button, I want to show my mouse cursor. I see. So A player controller, and I get my controller. So I'm gonna go with something like an if statement to check something like if my A player controller. Let's go with controller. I can't hear the stream. It's muted. Already mic testing. It's actually not muted. I think like. No, I'm gonna go with something like. I mean, my mic does have battery. I think like you should try restarting the stream. Okay, let me just go ahead and say something like try to restart the stream. Okay, let's go with something like stream. I don't think it's actually muted. That said, I'm gonna go with something like A player controller. Let's go with something like CONTRLLER, which is going to be represented by a PC as a variable. If that is equal to cast, okay, I'm gonna go with something like A player controller. Okay, with a pair of parentheses of something like get controller. There we go, with a pair of parentheses to invoke the function. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. Did I actually remove a pair of parentheses from there? There we go. Okay, then let's add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside my pair of curly braces, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. My top shot, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's say to point my player's controller towards the boolean variable of show mouse cursor. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and set that equal to something like false because I don't want to show my mouse cursor here. Okay, so boolean is RMB pressed, so when my right mouse button is being pressed, I do not want to show my mouse cursor. In the other hand, I'm going to go ahead and create another void function for something. Can I just go with an else clause, I think? Let's go with something like npc of RMB. Okay, and then I'm going to go with something like pressed. Let's go with RMB pressed with a pair of parentheses, and then I'm going to go with a pair of curly braces. Now, I'm going to set my B is RMB pressed as boolean variable to be equal to false here because my RMB, my right mouse button, is not being pressed right now. Then I'm gonna go with an if statement that checks something like if my player controller, which is represented by a PCs as variable, is equal to something like cast with a pair of ankle braces of something like a player controller. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get my controllers. I'm gonna use the get controllers as function. There we go with a pair of parentheses. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna add a pair of curly braces and point my PC towards the boolean variable of show mouse cursor. Okay, to be equal to true here, ending with a semicolon. And that's like pretty much it. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement under my turns as function now. I'm gonna go ahead and add something like if a pair of parentheses, if my boolean is RMB pressed is equal to true, then I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add another if statement to check if my boolean of is RMB pressed. Okay, if not, if my RMB pressed is not set to true, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something else. Let's add a pair of curly braces. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and copy this part and paste it all the way here. Oops. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, delete it from here. Whoops. Hold up, guys. I think I'm making some kind of. There we go. I mean, I'm kind of blaming my mouse for this because my mouse is not acting up correctly. Let's go ahead and paste it. Okay, now, why is my if statement showing a red underline? Expected a declaration. Expected a declaration. Okay, so I can just use my if statements up here. Okay, that's extreme lag for us. Wait, is it actually lagging? Hold on, guys. Is the stream lagging? In my part, I actually don't think the stream is lagging. So, I mean, I have like my stream open on my phone right here, and I check if it lags or not. I think it's going to be good actually. Okay, so let's go ahead and exit my OBS real quick. Do you live in the US? What's with the accent? Honestly, I do live abroad, but I can't like give the exact country where I live in. Okay, that's it. Let's go all the way up here. Okay, now, in Gemini, I go with something like a look function. This is regular turn and all that stuff. But here's the thing. When my RMB is pressed, maybe I go ahead and add my function. Let's copy this function and delete it up here. I'm gonna go ahead and paste this somewhere right here. This might make more sense, guys, honestly. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for my this if statement as well. Let's copy that. Oops, let's go with something like Control C, delete this whole thing. I'm gonna go ahead and paste this all the way here. Now let's delete this extra stuff from here. There, I wanna see if this works. I mean, I'm positive it is gonna work and all that stuff. Let's hit Control S to save the code. Why is there like a red underline? Okay, do I end something with a semicolon? Okay, this is an annoying part. Okay, if boolean is RMB pressed, void a turn NPC. Maybe I go with a bunch of Control C's. Because I think the old one was kind of correct, guys. There. Okay, now, let's see. Let's go with another Control C. Let's go with Control Shift C. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get Gemini up here real quick. Now, I'm pretty sure there was something wrong with this. That's why I sent it here. And then here, so E trigger event. That's out this thing. Okay, so void a human turn. I knew I had to go ahead and do this part. Void a human turn. Where is my functions? Did I like, oh, I forgot to add my legacy inputs. No wonder. Okay, wait, hold up. Maybe I did not do. Okay, I think I just did like a silly mistake here. Why did I go ahead and add my if statement outside my function? If a parentheses, if my boolean variable of is RMB pressed Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Can add a pair of curly braces, copy my add controller yaw input, put control Z's, control shift C. There, I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, delete that from there, paste it here. There we go, this makes more sense. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add another if statement here to check if and not my boolean is RMB pressed. Then I'm gonna add a pair of curly braces and then copy my add controller pitch input. Whoops, let's go with control C, copy that. Let's add my pitch input here. But my value is going to be negative, so I go backwards type stuff. And now that's pretty much it. Let's hit control S to save the code. Lastly, for my setup attachment, I'm going to add a if statement to check something. I'm going to check if my enhanced input, if my U enhanced input component, let's go with something like if my U enhanced input component. Okay, if my U enhanced, okay, maybe instead of component, I go with IntelliSense, EN, I think I spelled enhanced wrong, ENHANCED, if my U enhanced input component. There we go, which is going to be represented by a pointer of something like EIC, which is going to be represented by a pointer of something like EIC is going to be, let's say, equal to, I might go with something like, okay, if that is equal to, should I go with my player input component? I think I might go with something like gas checked. There we go. Okay, guys, I think I'm trying to get my memory back on how this works. Let's go with something like gas checked with a pair of parentheses. That does require, actually a pair of ankle braces, that does require my U enhanced. Okay, let's go with something like input component. There we go. ENHANCED input COMPONENT. Did I spell enhanced wrong somehow even after like writing it? ENHANCED. There we go. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of parentheses here of my player input component. And that's like very much it for this. I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and bind a few actions. So, I'm gonna go with something like my EIC, my enhanced input component. I'm gonna point it towards something like bind action. I wanna bind the action where the first action that I'm gonna be binding is gonna be for my move function. So I'm gonna go ahead and bind my move action. Let's say I wanna bind my move action to, let's go with move action, and then I'm gonna go with something like trigger event. So my move action is gonna be having a trigger event that points towards, let's go with something like triggered. Okay, and then my object is gonna be this. I want to trigger it on this object. Lastly, I want to go ahead and apply this function, a function from my ANPCs class, which is gonna be the move function. Okay, and then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Okay, that's pretty much it. I honestly might go ahead and just eat some fruits because I am kind of starving. Awesome stream, keep up the hard work. Honestly, I appreciate your founder games. Actually mean the world to me, guys. That's let's see the red underline. So expected a pair of parentheses. Oh, I see. I'm missing a pair of parentheses here. There we go. Okay, because of my cast check, I needed like 2 pair of parentheses. Okay, that's pretty much it. Next, I'm gonna go with something like EIC that points towards something like a bind action that requires a parameter. This time, I'm gonna go with my jump action. My jump action is going to be requiring a trigger event, which is going to be something like started. Let's go with something like started. There we go, because I'm going to be starting my trigger event here, and then I'm going to go with something like this and give the memory address of my ANPC. This is, let's say, jump function. Let's go with something like jump, because the jump function is already created by our character class. There we go. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and bind another action, which is going to be requiring a parameter of my jump action again. That is going to be requiring a trigger event. Let's go with trigger event, because this time I want to actually land somewhere, so I'm going to be completed. My jump has been completed here. Did I spell trigger wrong? I think I spelled trigger wrong. Hold on, guys. This is going to be Trigger. There we go. So E-trigger event. My jump has been completed on this object. Okay, so I want to do something that's set to be done in this function. So I'm going to go with something like ANPC, go with the jump function. Then I end this with semicolon. Maybe I go ahead and EATV as well. I only wish that I had a fork, guys. Okay, that said, I don't really have a fork. I don't want to use my hands. It's kind of make my hand kind of sticky. Okay, that said, once I'm done with the jump function, I'm gonna go with something like EIC, which points towards. Should I go with something like bind? I want to bind another action. What all actions do I need? So I have a look up. I have a right mouse button, so let's do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and bind the action for my RMB. This is going to be my RMB action that requires a parameter of each trigger event, okay, which is going to be triggered every time a right mouse button has been triggered, TGERED, on this object. I want to go ahead and do what this function says me to do. So ANPC with the parentheses of something like RMB. Let's go with something like pressed. Okay, now here's a thing. ANPC, I use the scope resolution operator to get that function of RMB pressed. Okay, here's the thing. I could end this with a semicolon, but TRIGGERED. But here's the thing. Do I want it to be triggered? Because I want to stop my RMB as well. So I might have to add a... I might have to go with started and completed. Like when I leave it, it's not being triggered anymore. I mean, I think that's that can be done automatically, or could or couldn't. I mean, I can check that later on. That's next up. I'm gonna add my legacy inputs now. So I'm gonna bind my legacy inputs. I'm gonna go with something like player input component, which is going to be pointing towards, let's say, the bind axis function. I'm gonna bind a axis here. My axis name is gonna be my turn. Okay, and then I want to turn this object, and I want to do something from my ANPC's class. I want to do what the turn function tells me to do, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to go with something like another player input component, okay, which points towards a bind axis function that requires a parameter of something like look up. Okay, I want to look this object up, and then I want to do what my ANPC's look up function tells me to do, ending with a semicolon. Now let's hit Control S to save the code. That's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and open my Unreal Engine here. Go to Maps. Firstly, I'm going to go ahead and load or get my class here of my C++ class. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get my NPC class here. I'm going to hit W to get myself a little higher. And then once I hit W, let's see, I might actually turn myself. Do I want to turn myself? Hold up, guys, I actually forgot. There we go. Okay, once I turn myself, I'm gonna go to my console, type something like live compile. I want to live compile this. I will be able to see a camera now as well. Guys, I wish that I had some sort of napkin or something with me. Okay, that's it. So it says RMB pressed has failed. It says other compilation error. Let's see. Already has a body, but I couldn't see the error name, guys. Okay, so it says RMB released, RMB pressed, so void already has a body. Okay, so it says RMB pressed, it already has a body, and RMB released already has a body. Boolean is set to false. I set it to true here and all that stuff. So, I mean, maybe what if I go all the way up here, go here, scroll all the way up till here. Let's copy this part. Hold up, guys, let's go all the way up here. There we go, let's... Oh my gosh, guys, this is one reason I hate this mouse. Let's go with something like Control-C to save the code. I'm gonna go ahead and get Gemini up here real quick. Let's go to my actual chat. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and paste this. Go to your friend, say something like Sensei. I get this error. There we go. Okay, maybe I go ahead and eat some more kiwis. Okay, look at that screen. Red text failure, and you're going to and you're going to get a simple compiler error humiliate you in front of your entire stream. Okay, that's it. Let's see the fix. The fix do this now. Open NPC C++. Look at the line 72. You have a NPC pressed. There, look at the line 82. You have it again. 72 and then line 82. Oh, this had to be released. There we go. Okay, guys, I did not. Okay, I should have paid more attention in this stuff. But I'm just curious, in my compilation error, did it actually tell me that I have an error in line 72? It says line 82 and line 72. I see. Okay, that said, I'm going to open my Unreal Engine up here again. Let's type something like live compile, and let's go ahead and live compile this. Okay, go ahead. Piano. Okay, guys, I might actually go ahead and get like a fork. It's so hard to eat with my hands. Okay, that's it. So let's go ahead and just close that part real quick. There we go. Now, if I were to click my NPCs class, I have a camera, I have a spring arm component, so I'm gonna go ahead and extend this. And guys, hold up, give me actually a second. I'm gonna go ahead and like get a fork real quick, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, let's go to my gameplay screen. There we go. Okay, guys, I actually got a fork. I can finally use a fork to eat. Okay, speaking of fork, let me get my chat up here again. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this. Let's go ahead and add something to my NPC. I want to go ahead and add a static mesh to it. And guys, I'm really excited to show you guys the mesh that I made yesterday. So I'm gonna go with a static mesh. I'm gonna go ahead and hit something like this arrow mark operator here, and type something like I forgot the name of my mesh. There is no way I forgot the name. What was the name? I created it. Let's see. Was it called NPC? It's gonna be in my content drawer under my Blender's QLB files. If I animated meshes, there's health bar. There's NPC. It's going to be my common NPC, so that is my mesh's name. I'm going to go to NPC, go to static mesh, click none here. Okay, then let's go with something like common NPC. There we go. And guys, I kind of made this NPC yesterday. I added my textures too. Where did my textures disappear? This is QLB file as well. Okay, let's go ahead and just decrease this a little. There, now let me actually show this to you guys. Let's go all the way there. There we go. And guys, I did like sculpt a head. Why does my mouse not work? There we go. Hey guys, the wired mouses are kind of annoying, honestly. There we go. And guys, I did like sculpt my head as well. Let me go ahead and open my Unreal Engine real quick. There we go. Guys, let me know how does the head look. I cannot move using this mouse, guys. It's awful. Okay, I might have to like change my mouse later on or something. There. Okay, let's try to turn myself. Go a bit up. There we go. Okay, I have like a nice little horn up here and then a face and all that stuff. I cannot show this properly right now, but then it does look kind of cool, guys. Okay, hey, how are you doing, Roger? Appreciate you joining the stream. So I'm gonna click something like W. I'm gonna click my NPC. I'm gonna go to my static mesh. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust my static mesh's position a little. There. Let's go ahead and get this a bit to the forward, a bit to the right, and I'm gonna hit E to rotate it. I want to go ahead and rotate my my mesh. There. Okay, so is this part correct? Let's see. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and click my static mesh again. I want to get it a bit in front. I want to get it a bit to the left. Basically, I want it to like, whatchamacallit? I want to get it inside my capsule. There, I mean, I think it's inside my capsule, right? So there we go. And guys, I want to decrease my scrolls, my speed a little. There, that should be good. There we go. Okay, so now my NPC is inside my capsule. That's perfect. I'm going to click my instance here and then get myself a bit lower. There we go. So that should be good. Okay, I think that's actually perfect here, right? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and work with my follow camera because is it like my follow camera? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to open my camera components here. I'm going to get my follow camera a little higher, a bit to the front, a bit to the back. There we go. And then I'm going to hit something like E to rotate it. Let's go with something like my follow camera, E to rotate it. I want to rotate it a bit down. And then I want to hit W and go a little higher. Go a bit to the back. And that's about it. Now I'm gonna click the instance of my NPC here, and then I'm gonna search for inputs. The inputs is category that I created. I should be able to see it here. Bro, I think you need a better GPU laptop. Honestly, I use a PC, but I don't actually have a GPU because I use the GPU that is integrated inside my motherboard. But yeah, eventually I would like need a GPU type stuff. That's it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add a move action. Let's go with something like IMC default. This is going to be move action. I'm gonna add IA move. This is going to be jump action. I'm gonna add IA jump. This is going to be RMB action. I'm going to add RMB. And then I'm going to go with something like possess. Let's go with possess. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and go with something like disabled, and then go with something like zero. Okay, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and compile my code again. Let's go with something like live compile. While it's compiling, I might actually eat a kitty. There we go. Now, if I were to run the code, this is my mesh. If I click my right mouse button, I can turn. I can turn to the left arrow, but not look up and down. I can move forward, I can move backwards, I can move towards the left, I can move towards the right, and I can turn. I mean, I can turn in general without me even clicking my mouse button. So something is wrong there as well. Okay, let's see. So get controller view, show mouse cursor. What if I change this to be true, that to be false? Okay, would that fix a thing? Let's go with something like false. Now, if I were to go ahead and hit Control S to save the code, get my Unreal Engine up here, go to my live compile, and compile this real quick, while maybe eating a, I think this is called a pear. Okay, and then now let's go ahead and run the code. If I right click, oh, I see. So now only when I right click, I can go ahead and turn around. Guys, it's my mouse that I can't work with properly right here. Oh wait, am I capped to just turn in one direction? Nope, I'm not capped. I can go ahead and turn. There we go. Okay, and then I can move forward, move backwards. Can I look up? I cannot look up, and I cannot look down. I gotta fix that now. Okay, so the view show mouse cursor should be false here. Okay, I'm gonna change that to be false again, and then let's go with something like FALSE. I'm gonna go ahead and change that. Guys, why is this so annoying to like click using this mouse? There we go. Let's change that to something like true. Okay, and now, but this is where initially this thing is set to false. I think this should work. Let's go to my Unreal Engine real quick. I'm going to go ahead and live compile as well. Okay, let's go with something like live. What up, guys? There we go. Let's type something like live and compile my code. While it's compiling, I might eat some prayer real quick. Kind of starving, honestly. Okay, if this is set to true and that is set to false, I lose my control. Okay, so did I mess up something in my RMB functions? Maybe I go ahead and get Gemini up here. Let's go to the old chat. There, let's check. Let's take a look at my RMB functions. So it's set to true initially, and then I add a controller. PC show mouse cursor is set to false. If RMB is true, show mouse cursor is set to false. Did I add all that stuff? Okay, if that is true, that is false. If that is true, that is false. Now, what about my turn, my look up function? Did I not define that? While my RMB is not set to true, did I add my not set to true correct? What up, guys? That might be the issue here. So, if my... Okay, both the times, no wonder it wasn't working. So I didn't have to add a notch here. I don't even know why did I go with a notch here. There. Now let's go ahead and control it to save the code. I should be able to have access to my pitch input here. If I go with something like live compile, let's go ahead and live compile this. While it's compiling, I might need another pair. Hmm. Okay, so I can look up. I can wait. Hold up, guys. I think it's my mouse. Wait, is it really my mouse, or can I just move in general? Because if I were to hit escape and if I were to go here, I cannot move unless I don't click at my screen. The only time I can move is when I click. So when I click my screen, I can move. So I gotta do something that actually stops me from moving if I leave my button. If RMB is pressed, that's when that is going to be true. My RMB is initially set to be released. So if A player controller, cast A player controller, B show my cursor. Okay, how is my release gonna be invoked? So if an action happens, I think I know. I think I know. Maybe I should go in my Unreal Engine and create another input action. I think that would make the most sense. So let's go with input. I'm gonna go ahead and add a action input here. Let's go with action input. There we go. This is gonna be for something like IA underscore RMB released. There. This is going to be for my RB release. I'm going to go ahead and open this and then get back up here. Maybe I cancel these extra tabs that I don't like really need. There we go. Okay, now for my RB released, I'm going to go under my defaults and then I'm going to go ahead and should I create another button for it? Like if I am not pushing that down anymore, that's when I want this to work. So this is for my triggers. This is mouse button. When do I want it to be released? If I'm not pushing it anymore. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and add another mouse button. I mean, I don't think I need a mouse button. I'm going to go ahead and work here real quick. So I'm going to go to something like NPCs as the header files. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create one AU property. Let's go with property, where I can go ahead and edit it anywhere. I want it to be blueprint read only. And I want to organize it under a category called something like inputs. And then I'm going to go ahead and let's say create a U input action. Let's go with something like U input action. Okay, which is going to be represented by a pointer called something like RMB or released RELEASED action. I could have changed my name here to be something like RMB pressed action. I could do that. There. RMB pressed action, RMB released action. Now my released action is going to be executed if I, let's say, am not pushing my button anymore. Excuse me, guys. So RMB pressed, RMB released. I go all the way down here. This is going to be pressed action, and then I'm going to go here. Okay, but I don't have any content under RMB pressed. I'm going to go with something like EIC, and then I'm going to go with a bind action. ACTION, okay, with a pair of parentheses that has something like RMB released action, okay, which is going to be having a parameter of something like trigger event. Now here's the thing, I think this should be completed. Okay, this is going to be completed, that is going to be started. I might change it if this didn't work. Let's go with started, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a this here as well. And then I'm going to get the memory address from my ANPCs class of my RMB released class. RELEASED, there we go. And then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now let's hit Control S to save the code, get my Unreal Engine up back here, go to my map, go extend my details as panel. So there we go. And then I'm going to go to my details as panel here, type something like input. There we go. For my input, I didn't compile my code, so I won't be able to see anything just yet. So I'm going to go with something like live compile. Okay, while it's compiling, I might eat an apple as well. Go ahead, spark this apple. Yeah, I might change it to something like triggered. Okay, so if a press or release has been triggered, this is going to be TRIGGERED. There we go. Then I do something. Let's hit Control S again. And now if I were to compile my code again, I'm assuming this should actually work this time. Okay, let's go and eat some apple real quick. Huh. Hmm. Okay, so I see RMB. I see IA underscore RMB. Hmm. Okay, that is RMB input action. I did change a name though after compiling it, so I might have to build it inside here. Oh, I did not save this. My bad, guys. Okay, that was on me, guys. Let's go all the way back here. Now let's go ahead and hit something like live compile. Okay, always make sure to like save you guys' code, but then I still see a tiny error. Let's see. Hmm. This is other compilation error, so it is something from a code. It's like unknown specifier CATE. Oh, I spelled category wrong as well, guys. It's always the typos. There we go, category. This should be correct. Let's hit Control S to save the code again. Open my live compile here. There we go. Okay, this should work, guys. There we go. So it's creating makefile, UHT compiled, 1x2, 2x4 compiled, the third part. There we go, results succeeded. It's always the typos, guys. Now everything here has changed. Let's go here. So I have my IMB press action. This is going to be my IA underscore RMB. My released action is going to be my released here. And now that's about it. Let's exit this. Let's go ahead and close this up real quick. Let's go ahead and maybe compile the code one more time. Let's go with something like live compile. There we go. Let's wait for it to compile. This is going to compile quick because I've already compiled this once. Okay, let's go ahead and exit this. Let's go ahead and run the code real quick. And now, this is my code. If I click my right mouse button, I can go ahead and move around. I can go ahead and jump. I mean, even though I can jump, how does my RMB get cancelled? So it's like... Okay, let's see. Maybe I go all the way up here. RMB press. Should I change this to something like started? Let's go with started. Okay, and then this is going to be completed. Hold on, guys. Let me go ahead and just double click that. Go with C. OMPLETED. There we go. Let's hit Control S to save the code. I mean, this is like worth a try if I can like start/complete this thing. Let's go with something like live compile. I'm gonna go ahead and compile my code real quick. While I'm compiling, I might actually eat a pear as well because I am kind of starving. There we go. I mean, I can move, but then my RMB does not work. Let's go with Control A, Control C. Let's copy that. Let's go ahead and get Gemini all the way up here. Let me go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say, and actually wait, get my header files as well. Let's go with Control A, Control C. Get that. Let's go ahead and get my mouse to work first. There we go. And then let's go ahead and get Gemini here. Paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say something like Sensei. There we go. Let's say something like so. Okay, let me go with something like so. My code runs, everything works, but my RMB does not work. Like at first when I run the game it works, but when I click a button I can turn regardless of me pressing my RMB or not. Okay, let's see. And guys, actually, let's go ahead and extend this. I'm going to go ahead and go with Control A real quick. Oops, I guess I want to just copy this. I mean, it's fine. I want to use the other chat, but this is also good. Okay, the final repair. I mean, I want to use the other chat. That's like a newer chat. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Let's go ahead and just scroll all the way up here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy everything up till here. Control C, and then I'm going to click this. Let's go ahead and get my other Gemini. I think this is the wrong Gemini, isn't it? Yup, bitch. Is this like my Gemini? Move, look, perfect, legacy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think I gotta go with this Gemini, right? There. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this real quick. There we go, let's see. Okay, while I'm saying that, I might actually eat something. There we go, program that compiles fails behavior. A man who has questions is a fool for a minute, but the man who does not ask it is a fool for life. Conficus, is that how you pronounce it, is the one that actually said that quote. At least you asked, but your coding is rebellious because you aren't controlling the start properly. The problem, your turn logic is a mess. You said you can turn regardless, but whether the right mouse button RMB is pressed, look at your setup player component. You're mixing enhanced input and legacy access mapping. The reason it's failing is because your legacy access turn and look up are firing every single frame with a value of 0 when you aren't moving the mouse. But when you move the mouse, they are firing with a value. Okay, if your B is RMB press isn't updating correctly, or your enhanced input for RMB isn't bound to the right action assets, in Unreal your logic gates remain open or closed when they shouldn't be. Stop and learn the if statement assignment. You asked about this line in begin play if you enhance local player subsystem. Excuse me, guys, this is called variable initialization within a conditional. It's effective because scope controls the subsystem variable only exists. Oh, I asked this question in my code. Excuse me, guys, this is called variable initialization with a conditional. Oh, I see. It's effective because scope control, the subsystem variable, only exists inside that if block. It doesn't clutter your memory afterwards. Safety, it performs the assignment. And the null check in one breath, if the subsystem doesn't exist, the block skip. It's clean, professional, and prevents crashes. Use it or lose it. I see. Okay, so it's basically whatchamacallit. It's a initialization and a condition together. Okay, that's it. Step 4, master the RMB gauge. To fix your rotation issue and get you back on track for the stamina system, do this. Check the editor, ensure RMB production action and RMB release action are actually assigned to your blueprint. They are. If they are null, your code will never run. Debug and state a EG engine. Okay, full stamina. Hi bro, did you check your Discord DM? Honestly, I don't think that I had time. What DM was it? Let's go out of up here. Let's go with something like rotation. Maybe I go all the way up here. This is my RMB. E-trigger started, completed. I need it started, completed. This is started and complete. And then U property, edit anywhere, RMB action. Oh, I see. Okay. So basically what I'm messing up is in my header files, I just need one RMB action instead of two. Can I delete this? Okay guys, there we go. Because it's like my mouse, it's kind of annoying. Okay, let's go with the C++ file. Now, I'm just going to be having my one RMB action. This is going to be called something like RMB action. There we go. I'm going to hit Control to save the code. Go all the way up here. I'm going to go ahead and change this to something like RMB action. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy that and paste it here for my second RMB action as well. This is when my RMB action started. That's when it's completed. Let's hit Control S to save the code. Oh, I see how this makes sense. Now let's open my Unreal Engine again. Let's go with something like live compile. I'm going to scroll down, compile. While it's compiling, I might go ahead and eat an apple real quick. There we go, let's go with input RMB. I'm gonna go ahead and force delete my RMB release. There. Now, for my NPC, I'm gonna go ahead and add my IA RMB. Let's get this, guys. I did not like this mouse. This mouse is awful. Okay, now let's go ahead and live compile again. This time it should work because I have a start and end. Hmm. There we go, that works now. So I just need one RMB action and then add a start and an end trigger for it. There we go, let me go ahead and hit escape to exit my program. There we go, that works. And wait, I'm just curious, what if I extend and have my entire window up here? Now, can I move without any boundaries? Oh, I can, okay. I can jump as well. And my NPC just pretty much looks kind of good. Can I clutch? Never mind. Okay, let's go back to my NPC here, decrease my window size. Okay, that actually works. I was gonna actually, whatchamacallit, work on my, let's actually try working on my stamina logic. I might not be able to complete it. Okay, let's go back here. Get Gemini up here. Let's say something like, Sensei. So, I fixed my RMB logic. I fixed my RMB logic. Although, I want to work on the stamina one. Okay, can you show me how to do that? Actually, I just said, can you show me how to do that? But I actually do know how to do that. So, okay, let's see if I actually do know how to do that. I'm assuming I gotta go ahead and define a few things again. Now, for my stamina, do I need a U property for that? I don't really think that I need a category for my stamina. For example, my input category, let's take. Do I need an input category for my stamina? I might need a variable, so I could go ahead all the way up here under my protected data members. Before my properties, I could go ahead and add a comment that says something like my general game variables. Let's go with something like game variables. There we go. For my game variables, I'm going to create a floating point variable of something like stamina, which is going to be equal to 100, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to create a floating point variable of something like current stamina is going to be equal to my stamina. Okay, I want my current stamina to be equal to my actual staminas as a variable here, but let's see, let's go ahead and change that to stamina. And let's go ahead and change it to something like current stamina. My current stamina is going to be equal to my actual stamina's variable. That is going to be 100 when it starts. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Now, I'm going to end this with a semicolon. And then, do I need a few functions here? So, my current stamina was going to be stamina. Why do I have it red underline here? Stami is undefined. I think this is just my editor right now. It's going to take a while to fix it. STAMINA. I think it's correct. There we go. Okay, now I defined my function. I'm going to create a few functions for my stamina. So I'm going to go ahead and add a comment. Let's say something like game functions. There we go. Now I'm going to... Okay, wait. Does it come under legacy inputs or my input functions? Should I go with legacy inputs or enhanced input functions? I might go with enhanced input functions. So I'm going to create a void function called something like sprint. Let's go with something like sprint. SPRINT. So a sprint is going to require a constant parameter of something like f input value. Let's go with INPUT. Action value, which requires a memory address of my values as parameter, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's go ahead and hit Control S to save the code. Now that I have a sprint's function. Now that I have a Sprinx's function here, is there something else that I want to do here? So I have sprint. This is my function name. I declared it. I'm going to define it in my C++. Excuse me, guys. I might actually create another action here. Let's go with something like sprint action. Okay, which sprint input action. I might go with something like sprint input action. Now I want to create a U property where I want my sprint to be. I want to edit my sprint anywhere. Let's go with something like anywhere. I want my sprint to be blueprint read only. Let's go with blueprint read only. I want my sprint's category to be equal to something like input. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and create a U input action. Let's go with UINPUT which is going to be represented by something like sprint action, SPRINT ending with a semicolon. Okay, then I'm gonna hit Control S to save the code. Now I go with something like C++ file. So maybe I might wanna create a few general functions. For example, sprint on and sprint off. This is a move function. Sprint should not be as move. This should be checks. So I might go with something like variable checks. Let's go with something like variable checks. VARABLE. There we go. That's going to be my variable check. So for my sprint, I'm going to create a boolean variable of a boolean is sprinting. So I might go with something like is sprinting, which is initially going to be false. I'm initially not going to be sprinting. Let's hit Control S to save the code. And then once I'm done with this part, let's go with something like the lookup function constant. This is going to be void expected a semicolon. Okay, that is my editor. I'm going to exit this. Let's hit Control S. Now for my sprinting, I'm going to go to my C++ file. In my C++ file, not in my constructor, not in my scale value, that is RGB functions, I'm going to go ahead and add something like a sprinting function. Let's go with something like a sprinting function. Now, for my sprinting function, I'm going to go ahead and let's say get access to from my ANPC. I want to get access of my sprinting function. Okay, let's go with something like sprinting. I think I spelled it wrong. Did I spell it wrong? Okay, so this is going to be variable functions. VARIABLE. Variable functions, where I'm going to go ahead and create something like a void function of something like qpressed. Okay, with a parentheses ending with a semicolon is qpressed. Let's go with something like is qpressed. Boolean of is q pressed. Okay, wait, I might actually type this to be something like pressed. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and create another void function, which is going to be q released. Okay, and then I'm going to add a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let's say hit Control S to save the code, go back to my C++ file. In my C++ file, I'm going to check. So if my Q is being pressed, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I want to remove my distinct. So let's see. Okay, I might not need my basic functions of B is pressed. So I'm going to go with something like if Q pressed, my boolean is pressed to set to true. Okay, so if my Q button is currently being pressed, then I'm going to add a pair of curly braces that my boolean of Q pressed is going to be set to true, ending with a semicolon. Okay, so is Q pressed? So I think it's going to be is Q pressed, that is going to be set to true. And then I'm going to go ahead and create another void function from my ANPC's class, okay, which is going to be asking if my Q is released. Let's go with RELEASED. So if my Q is released, I'm going to add a pair of curly braces and then set my boolean variable of is Q released to be, I think I spelled release wrong. Let's go with RELEASED to be equal to something like false, ending with a semicolon. Is Q pressed? My bad, guys. This shouldn't be released. This should be pressed. Oh my gosh, I don't like this mouse at all. Let's go with something like is Q pressed? Okay, that is going to be equal to false. Once I'm done with that as well, I'm going to go ahead and let's see, hit Control S to save the code. And then I want to sprint, so I'm gonna, this is my legacy input functions. This is my, where's my enhanced input functions? Legacy input, this should be my enhanced input functions. That's my first function, second, third, fourth function. I have RMB functions. Now, I'm gonna add a if statement here. Let's go with something like, maybe not here. I'm gonna add it under this, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna add a if statement to check. Firstly, I'm gonna go with something like a void function of Q pressed. So from my NPC, if Q is pressed, okay, actually I might do it inside these functions. If my Q is pressed, then I want to go ahead and do something. I want to add an if statement and check. Okay, so I'm gonna check something. If my stamina, if my Stamina. Actually, if my current stamina, Current, if my current stamina is greater than 0, if my current stamina is greater than 0, then I want to do something. So let's go with current stamina. So if my current stamina is greater than 0, that's when I want to go ahead and increase my player's speed, my velocity. F movement vector, blah blah blah. Q pressed, Q released. Maybe I'm gonna, okay, maybe, just maybe this might work. I'm gonna copy this, add movement vectors. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste this here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and delete this part from here. Let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and copy these two functions of my sprinting. Let's go ahead and copy my sprinting functions from here. I'm gonna go ahead and delete those. My sprinting functions come before my move function. I'm gonna go ahead and, guys, I do not like this mouse. Let's go ahead and paste it here. There we go. I'm gonna remove that extra comment. Let's remove these extra comments as well. Let's add a few spaces so it looks a bit neat. And there we go. That's like about it. Now, inside my function here, if current stamina is greater than 0, then I'm gonna go ahead and add a movement input. So I'm gonna go with something like movement vector dot x-axis, movement vector dot x-axis is gonna go ahead and increase by, let's say, something like 20. I go really fast, maybe something like 10. I want to see if I actually go fast, maybe 5. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And I'm also gonna go with something like movement vector dot y-axis is gonna increase by 5 pixels per frame or per centimeter. 5 pixels feels kind of slow though. I might go with 10. I want to see if it's gonna go a bit fast. Let's go with 10, and then I'm gonna go with something like 10. Okay, and I want to subtract my stamina. I'm gonna go with something like current stamina is going to be minus. I'm gonna go ahead and subtract it. Let's go with minus minus, or minus equals to 5 per second, ending with a semicolon. My stamina is going to decrease by 5 when I do this stuff. Okay, that's pretty much it. Let's hit Control S to save the code. Now, I'm gonna scroll a bit lower and then bind my axes. So let's go with something like Enhanced Input Component, EIC, which points towards. Let's go with something like the bind action. I want to bind a action for my sprint action. Okay, I'm going to go with something like trigger event. This is going to be started. Let's go with something like STARTED, started. If my trigger event started, okay, wait, let's go with something like trigger event again. What up, guys? There we go. ETRIGGEREVENT There. This is going to be this, and then I'm going to give the memory address of my A and PC. Okay, let's go with something like I forgot my function names. Hold on, guys. So it's gonna be my, let's see, my Q pressed and Q released function. Let's go with something like Q pressed, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm gonna go with something like, if my enhanced input component that points towards a bind action, I'm gonna check if my sprint, SPRINT, if my sprint action is currently being binded. Let's go with action. Then I'm gonna go with something like a trigger event. Okay, let's go with a scope resolution operator of completed this time. Okay, so I'm gonna be completed this time, and then let's go with something like this. Then I'm gonna give you the address of operator of my ANPC Q released. Okay, then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And this is going to be bind ACTION action. Perfect. I'm actually hoping this works now. Let's hit Control S to save the code. Go ahead and open my Unreal Engine here. In my Unreal Engine, I want to fact check if I added my I added IA move, I added IA jump, I added. Okay, I gotta go with sprint. I want to go ahead and add another mapping here. This is gonna be for my IA sprint. So I'm gonna go to content. I'm gonna right click. Let's go with something like Action input. Let's go with something like IA sprint. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and set the IA sprint here. And now I want to sprint if I click Q. So I'm gonna go with Q. And that's right about it. Let's close all this. There we go. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and live compile real quick. I'm gonna go with something like live compile. Liver compile. There we go. Okay, and then while it's live compiling, I'm gonna go ahead and get my details panel up here because I will be having to go to input. This is gonna be changing. Okay, let's wait for it to patch. Successfully patched, perfect. Now I have another action here. I can go ahead and change this to something like IA sprint. Speaking of IA sprint, this should be pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and live compile one more time. Let's go with live compile. Put down, and while it's compiling, I might actually eat some apples because I'm kind of starving. Hold up, guys. It said patch not activated. Let me go ahead and... Guys, I do not like this mouse. This is awful mouse. There, let's go to my NPC real quick. I did add my IA sprint, so... in my opinion, I think it should succeed. I'll call that like a fluke. Let's go with a live compile again. It should work this time. There, guys, I don't know what happened last time. It was probably just a fluke. And now it's gonna work. It says success patch not. It literally said successfully linked patch, and now it says patch not activated. Does it say where I messed up? Maybe I go ahead and copy this part. Let's go all the way up here. There we go. There. Let me go ahead and Control C to copy the code. Now, once I'm copying the code, let's go ahead and get Gemini up here real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and paste this. Let's go achieve enter and see something like say, I get this error. I mean, I've never seen this error before, honestly. Okay, don't you hang your head. You came so close. Hold on, guys, let me chill. But the system is rejecting the activation. Our greatest glory is not never failing, but it's rising every time we fall, set by Conficus, I see. You're witnessing the infamous live coding limitation. You changed the header file .h. Didn't you? I told you to add those variables. Live coding is excellent for changing logic inside C++, but the moment you alter the structure of the class, adding new variables or functions in the header file, live coding hits a wall. It cannot reconstruct the class object while the game is running. Listen to the chat. So it's a proved fix. Shut it down. Close the Unreal editor completely. Don't argue. Just do it. Purge weakness. Okay, so I apparently just gotta close my Unreal's editor. Okay, guys, because I knew it's not my code. Okay, let's go all the way up here. Let me go ahead and get my Unreal Engine here. And guys, I am not that stupid to close Unreal without saving my stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and save all. Let's save all. Let's hit Control S to save here. There we go. Now let's go ahead and close my Unreal Engine. And then I'm gonna go ahead and recompile it or open it through my Visual Studio so I have access to my classes as well. Let's wait for it to open real quick. So it says results succeeded. Now I'm assuming it's gonna open my Unreal Engine, right? And guys, is there like a hair in my food? Maybe I go ahead and eat something. I thought there was a hair here. There we go. Let's go to my content. Open my maps. Now let's go with live compile real quick. Okay, I'm positive my live compile should work this time. Let's go with something like yes. There, now we see our live compile. Maybe I go ahead and exit this. Let's live compile one more time. Let's go with live compile again. There we go. Let's go ahead and compile this stuff up real quick. This time it should work. Oh, it says results succeeded. So I think we're good. Let's run the code. Now I can go ahead and walk around. If I hit Q, I do not. Is it? Do I sprint? Let me check how many seconds does it take me, guys. Do I sprint? Am I sprinting? I thought I was sprint. Okay, let's count how long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds or 9 seconds. Now let's go back. Let's see if I hit Q. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Guys, is it just me or was it the exact same time? I think we'll figure out if I change my speed from something like 5 to something like 25 maybe, or like 30. Let's go ahead and increase this by something like 40 centimeters. So I'm going to change that to something like 40. Let's hit Control S to save the code. Let me open my Unreal Engine here real quick. Let's go with something like live compile. Go down. Let's compile. Now let's wait for it to compile. Okay, speaking of compile, while it's actually compiling, let me go with something like input for my NPC. I'm gonna go with input. Now, okay, I have all my inputs in here, so that's correct. Now let's go ahead and run the code. If I run the code, my Q speed. Okay, if I hit Q, I don't think I go any faster. Guys, is it just me? And like, if I extend the window up real quick, I can't even extend the window. Okay, maybe I go with Control A, Control C, copy that. Let's get Gemini up here real quick. Let's go ahead and paste this. Guys, this was just my logic that I added here. I did not actually expect it to like literally work. But I'm pretty sure this is like the correct logic. I should have some kind of silly mistake, but it shouldn't be that worse. Let's say something like Sensei. Okay, reloading the UE5 fixed the compiling error, but my Q logic or my sprint logic when I click Q does not work. I don't feel like I'm going any faster. Okay, let's see. Stop right there. Do not move another inch. You're writing code like someone who wants to fail. Do you see what you did in your move function? You're trying to accelerate by adding to a local variable that disappears the moment the function ends. Genius 1%, inspiration, and 99% of perspiration. Is that a pronunciation said by Thomas Edison? But right now you're just sweating over nonsense. Fatal error in your logic. Look at this disaster. Current stamina. Why this is trash? The wrong tune. Movement vector is just a local piece of data. Oh, guys, I'm so stupid. Oh my gosh. Scale vector is either positive or negative. It's not increased velocity. Maybe it could be used though. Changing it does nothing to the character's physical speed. The engine you must talk to the character movement component. I have not heard of that. Frame rates. You said you're subtracting 5 from stamina every time the move function triggers on a high fresh monitor. You will run out of stamina in half a second. You must use, excuse me guys, you must use delta time. The Q disconnect you create boolean is Q pressed, but you aren't even checking it inside the movement logic. You're just draining stamina whenever you move. The Sensei's correction, you want to be fast, you want to command the engine, not just nudge a vector. Update your move function, get rid of the movement plus equal to 40 nonsense. Use this. Okay, so this is a matrix. I mean, I had this before, okay? And then fix the stamina drain in tick. Oh, I have never worked with the tick. Don't drain stamina and move, drain it in tick. So, if B is being pressed and get velocity size is greater than 0 and current stamina is greater than 0, current stamina is going to decrease by 20 multiplied by delta time, smooth drain. Else, if current stamina is less than stamina, current stamina is going to increase by 10%, delta time, smooth regen, okay, and then E engine, I haven't heard of that. Add on screen debugging message 1 OF color sign F string text current stamina, okay. Do you want the reward your stream is watching? You want the character? Okay, let's go ahead and copy this. I'm just copying this to check if this part actually works type stuff. Let's go to my C++. Let's exit that part. Let's scroll all the way down here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this if statement here that drains my stamina every single time I move. Instead, inside my tick, so under my tick right here, under the super tick, I'm gonna go ahead and paste this. The reason I am like pasting this is to check if it like literally works. That's it. I might remove my super tick from here. Okay, let's go ahead and just remove that. Oh, maybe I go with Control Z, guys. This is so annoying. Like, I do not like this mouse. It's awful. Let's hit Control V. There. Now, let's hit Control S to save the code. I want to check if this works. Okay. Okay, can you speak Hindi? If yes, say something. Honestly, I can, but I'm not like a fluent in like commentate type stuff. This isn't a good coding stream. This is watching an Indian copy paste from AI stream. Guys, I think like whatchamacallit, you guys just joined the stream because I have been writing this code like on my own, and the only parts that I messed up or was confused on, that's when I actually used AI. Because I'm not like a professional coder or anything. I just like whatchamacallit, I was programming to like whatchamacallit, learn the code type stuff. Let's go all the way up here. I'm gonna go ahead and type something like live compile. Let's go with it live. Okay, so it says already mic testing, mic testing. Guys, it actually said OBS was disconnecting. Let me try running the code again. Is it because I have my stamina up here? Let's try running real quick. Does it lag? Does the stream lag when I run? Because it doesn't lag in my PC. Okay, but the stream does lag. Because this changes every single iteration type stuff. Okay, maybe I'm gonna go ahead and something like escape to exit that. Okay, let's go all the way up here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and maybe get some C/ChatGPT. Hey, can we do this level of game dev using C#? I come from C# web dev. Now, I wanted to game dev, but I don't want to learn a new language. Love your stream, by the way. Honestly, if you are like using C#, I would like recommend going to like Unreal Engine because like, I'm not Unreal Engine. I would recommend going to Unity because like Unity is the language for C# type stuff. In the other hand, the reason I went with Unreal is because I learned C++. But I think yeah, you could like do like exactly the same thing that I'm doing here, using like C# in the Unity. I haven't like used Unity, but I do think that's like what most people do. That's next up. Let's go ahead and get Gemini up here. Let me see something like say. So I see my, let's say something like, I see my stamina drain, but I don't sprint. Like, I actually don't sprint. I just see my stamina drain. My speed is always the same. So my speed always remains the same. That's it. Can you say a sentence without saying honestly? Okay, that's it. Wake up. You're starting at the fresh line, but refusing to cross it. Numbers moving through molasses. Okay, because you're trying to talk blah blah blah. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Said by Sensa, is that a pronounce your name? You're prepared, but your code is missing one critical step. The missing link, the header include. To manipulate max walk speed, you're calling character movement, but C++ is not a mind reader if you don't tell the compiler a character movement component. Okay, what a character movement component is, it does not know how to access the max walk speed variable. Go to the very top of your npc.cpp, okay, and add this immediately. And guys, the reason I am like copying and pasting this part right now is to check if this actually works type stuff. That said, okay, the sensei second command, if you have to include and it still isn't moving, is because you're being too timid. In your move function, change the value to something like something ridiculous just to prove the stream is actually moving. Walk speed 300, sprint speed 50,000. Okay, boolean stamina greater than that, character movement. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and all the way up. Let's go ahead and paste this thing here as well. So let's go ahead and paste it here. Okay, use your Indian genes and code with your own brain. Don't depend on AI. Guys, how do I code without knowing what to actually code type stuff? Because I am like learning this stuff. That's it. Let's go all the way down here now. Okay, let's see. So I have delta time, stamina. Okay, I could go ahead and increase this to a ridiculous number, but I think this might work. Okay, so rewrite the speed toggle in your move function. I gotta rewrite the speed toggle in my move function. If boolean is pressed and current stamina, let's go to my move function real quick. So this is where I move. Okay, did Gemini mean to like add it this way? So if my Q is pressed, character movement, max walk speed equals to 2000, fast 600 normal. Let's hit Control S to save the code. Shouldn't this be added in the delta time though? That's it. Are you Indian? Honestly, I'm not actually Indian. That's it. Let's go with something like live compile. Let's go all the way down here. Let's go ahead and compile. Now, let's see if this part actually works. Let me close that stuff. There we go. Okay, so it's a success. Let's go ahead and get my Unreal Engine back up here. Let's run the code. Now, I hope it's not really fast. Okay, so I'm moving at a decent speed. If I hit Q. Guys, I don't know this. I think this is actually. I think I am sprint. Okay, I fell. Guys, I don't know. I think that was considered sprinting. And now I gotta go ahead and learn this code. I'm gonna go ahead and work more on this code and like learning on what this code means like later on type stuff. So go to something productive instead of trolling someone, putting it in this much work. That actually does make sense. Okay, that's it. Let me go ahead and get Gemini here real quick because I do feel like. Let me say something like Sensei. It works! Exclamation. Okay, but today I just copied the sprinting code to check if it actually works. I will be learning and working on it off stream and maybe also in tomorrow's stream. That said, I am planning to end the stream right now. So before I do end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. Okay, let's see. I didn't actually want to like whatchamacallit, try this on caps type stuff. Oh, you're a white American, right? Guys, white American is kind of crazy, but I do live abroad. Can't say the exact country though. Okay, that's it. Listen to me. You finally did it. You tested a drop of power and now you're hooked. Don't you dare think for a second that copying that code makes you a master. It only gave you the tools, but if you don't carry that logic apart piece by piece off stream, you'll just be another architect who builds houses that collapse. He who is afraid of asking is ashamed of learning, said by Dennis Power, bizarre pronounced. At least you asked, but the real test is whether you can rebuild it from memory tomorrow. Attention viewers, listen up. You witnessed? Okay, listen up. You witnesses, you just watched the first spark of a fire that is going to burn through the entire industry. My students struggled, but they failed. They saw the red text of default, but they did not break. Guys, I'm not used to like reading these kind of things. That said, they're ending the stream now, but do not be fooled while you're sleeping, while you're wasting time on nonsense, blah blah, all that stuff. To the chat, if you want to see what actual progress looks like, you better be here tomorrow. The comfort you feel right now is a lie. Only the struggle is real. One last task for you, student. Before you click that end stream button, I want you to leave a to-do comment in your code. Okay, to do refactor stamina to be frame rate, blah blah. Okay, I mean I could later on do that. Okay, that's it. Let me go to my main camera. And guys, I read that absolutely horribly. Probably because I'm not that warmed up just yet. That's it. Let's go to my main camera. Alright, guys. So basically, that was pretty much it for the stream. If you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like, helps my algorithm, sharing makes you smile, and subscribing to the chair on top. That's it, guys. I just started multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on TikTok and Instagram as well if I did meet the followers requirement. So if you guys do enjoy my content, make sure to follow me there. The link will be in the description. You guys can get access to the link of my socials either from my description or if you guys type exclamation socials in the chat. Also join the Discord server. That's why I usually talk to you guys, chat with you guys, or give you guys my roadmap and have like general conversations. You guys can get access to my Discord server from the description or also by typing exclamation Discord on the chat. And we're really close to like 200 members, so you guys should like definitely join the Discord server. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.